Take a breath. Right now, most of what just filled your lungs is nitrogen. And the muscles in your arms, the skin on your hands, the DNA inside every one of your cells, all of it is built from that very same element. Here is the part almost nobody knows. Half of the nitrogen inside your body came out of a factory. Machines pulled it from the sky, and it traveled through soil, wheat, and bread until it became part of you. In a very real sense, half of you was manufactured. This is the story of an invisible powder that feeds 4 billion people every single day. Without it, half of humanity simply would not exist. And the man who created it saved more lives than anyone in history, yet the world remembers him as a monster. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how both of those things can be true. It starts with a cruel joke written into nature itself. Plants are desperate for nitrogen. It is the single ingredient that decides whether a field explodes with life or quietly starves. And the air above every field on Earth is 78% nitrogen. Trillions of tons of it free everywhere, but plants cannot touch it. The nitrogen in the air is locked, 2 atoms held together by one of the strongest bonds in all of chemistry. So a wheat field can starve, while swimming in an ocean of food. For 10,000 years, farmers fought that lock with whatever they could find: animal manure, rotting fish, endless crop rotation. It was never enough. By the 1800s, the hunger for nitrogen grew so desperate that empires went to war over bird droppings. That sounds like a joke, and it really happened. Seabird waste, called guano, had piled up on Pacific islands for centuries, and it was packed with usable nitrogen. Nations sent warships to claim those islands. For a while, bird droppings were worth more than gold. Then the guano ran out. The mines in Chile that replaced it started running dry as well. And in 1898, one of the most respected scientists alive stood before the world and delivered a chilling warning. Unless someone found a way to unlock the nitrogen in the air, mass starvation would arrive within a single generation. Enter Fritz Haber, a German chemist, brilliant, ambitious, and obsessed with the problem everyone called impossible. His solution was pure violence, chemical violence. He squeezed air under pressure 200 times greater than the atmosphere, heated it to 500 degrees, and forced it across a metal catalyst that cracked the bond wide open. In 1909, inside a small laboratory machine, it finally happened. Air flowed in one side. Liquid ammonia, pure usable nitrogen, dripped out the other, drop by drop. Witnesses said Haber could barely contain himself. He had pulled fertilizer out of thin air. A laboratory trick feeds nobody, though. That job fell to an engineer named Carl Bosch, and it nearly broke him. He had to grow a tabletop experiment into machines the size of buildings, running at pressures that burst every steel vessel of the era. It took 4 years and thousands of failed reactors. By 1913, the first plant was alive, and German newspapers gave the invention a name that still gives me chills: bred from air, and the world changed faster than anyone imagined. Fields that produced 1 ton of grain began producing 3, then 4. Populations that hunger had capped for centuries suddenly exploded. In 1900, the Earth held about 1.5 billion people. Today it holds 8 billion. Scientists have run the numbers, and they are staggering. Without this one chemical reaction, the planet could feed only about half of us. 4 billion people are alive right now. Because of Fritz Haber. He should be the most celebrated hero who ever lived. He is not, because the same reaction that builds fertilizer also builds explosives. Nitrogen sits at the heart of both. When the First World War broke out in 1914, Germany was cut off from Chile's nitrogen mines. Its ammunition should have run dry within months, and the war should have collapsed. Instead, the Haber-Bosch factories simply switched what they were making. Ammonia meant for bread became ammonia for bombs. The invention that would one day feed billions kept the deadliest war in history running for 4 more years. And Haber chose to go even further. He threw his genius into a brand new weapon: poison gas. In 1915, He traveled to the front lines and personally supervised its first large-scale attack. Thousands of soldiers died within minutes. His wife Clara was a chemist too, one of the first women in Germany to earn a doctorate in the field. She pleaded with him to stop. She called his work a corruption of science itself. He refused to listen. In 1918, Fritz Haber received the Nobel Prize for the reaction that feeds the world. When he arrived at the ceremony, several scientists refused to shake his hand. The man who saved 4 billion lives, and the man history calls the father of chemical warfare, were the same person, and his invention still carries that double edge today. Around half of the fertilizer spread on the world's fields never reaches a plant at all. It washes into rivers and flows out to sea, where it feeds enormous algae blooms that pull the oxygen out of the water. The result is dead zones, patches of lifeless ocean, some of them the size of entire countries. We broke the strongest lock in nature. A century later, we are still learning to control what came out, so engineers are now racing to repair the invention while keeping its gift. Farms are turning to sensors and drones that reveal exactly where nitrogen is needed and where it would only become poison. Scientists are engineering microbes that live on plant roots and pull nitrogen from the air naturally. Tiny living factories doing the work of giant industrial ones. And a new generation of plants is learning to run the entire process on solar and wind power. The goal stays the same everywhere. Keep 4 billion people fed and lose the poison. So the next time you take a breath, remember what is really happening. That air will pass through a factory, become a white powder, enter a field of wheat, and one day become part of you. Half of your body is living proof that one flawed man changed the chemistry of the human race forever. For 100 years, farming has followed one simple equation: soil plus water plus this invisible powder. But some engineers looked at that equation and asked a question that sounds like science fiction. What if we deleted the soil entirely? Fields gone, dirt gone, weather gone, strawberries growing inside glowing towers, lettuce harvested in the middle of city skyscrapers, roots hanging in nothing but mist. Farms that look like laboratories, and they outproduce real farmland 10 times over. That is the next video. The farms that abandon the ground. It is waiting for you right now.